Hey everybody, how you guys doing? Still got these ulcers going pretty hard, so I'm gonna go off today, but I'm gonna try to remain as calmly as I can. But good grief, what a joke, dude. What an absolute joke. Of course, here we go. The classics. This stuff got approved. Not that anybody thought that it wasn't, but I just love how they're like, we're gonna open it up to the public, get some of their comments and good grief. But we'll get into this in a second here. I'm just gonna let some people jump in real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and go get some water here real quick. Let me get some water here set up for this. Give me 1 second, guys. Alrighty. We'll let everybody see the intro. We'll say the intro. We haven't played the intro in a while. Get the intro going quick. Just let some people jump in, then we'll get started on the new regulations. So stupid.
He's been away for a while, but he's back around.
Y'all tell anybody I'll kill you! I'll kill you!
He's crackhead in the town.
Peanut butter and crap thing.
He's having back in a joint. Now he's
Look out, crack! Here I come!
He's Tyrone.
We get crack at the end?
He's been away for a while.
Oh, that video, it's funny. I had to play it, man. I haven't played that thing in a long time. Trying to make myself calmer for this video here. So, well, this isn't one. I'm gonna get into this, but it's not gonna be a super long video like normal. Like I said, I've had ulcers, so I haven't had a lot of time to look into stuff. But we're gonna talk about this now. So, they had the meeting today. Shared the link with you guys. You know, I thought they were going to open it up to people, open it up to the public, which they did. But, you know, they were supposed to really listen to the public comment is what I thought. But they didn't give a fuck. Let's be real. They weren't going to listen to it. This shit passed so fast, it wasn't even funny. It was like, boom, boom, done, ready to go. This was definitely... Like I said, this was gonna pass with flying colors. This was already predetermined type shit. So let's get into what this means. And, you know, one of the things you got to start asking yourself, you know, this could mean a couple things, couple implications here. But one of the things that I said last video is if this passes, we're fucked. And one of the reasons why I say that is... I'm not saying the play's fucked. I'm not saying the MOAS can't happen. I'm not saying the squeeze can't happen because that's not what I meant by that. But what I meant we're fucked by is I wanted that to happen. That was always my goal. Get a MOAS, get a squeeze, get what we all deserve. But my part 1B to my 1A was always take Citadel down, take down this corruption, take down all these institutions at the same time. That has always been my goal. My goal has always been to... So I try and expose as much as I can every day with these guys because... Yeah, it's going to be great if we all win, we make money and all this, but I don't want us to just make money, everybody moves on with their lives on a squeeze, and all of a sudden Citadel, you know, they're back doing their own things, nothing happens to them. That was always something that I was nervous about happening, and that's where I say at this point if Citadel gets this tag, I don't really see us ever being able to take them down the way that the current system would be set up. Yes, we could MOAS, and yes, this actually might help a MOAS, because one of the things we've talked about in a long time ago, one of the things we've always talked about, government intervening. And that's exactly what you're seeing, the government intervening. Now, what this is going to do is they're going to go ahead and put labels on these guys. They will go ahead now and bail these people out. We'll get into what this means and everything. But in the terms of a MOAS, what this could mean, it could help in a sense to where the government will say, all right, once we got everybody labeled too big to fail... Then we'll go ahead and everybody always said the government might set a price, set a limit. Well, now that we got these guys too big to fail, you can let it fly and we'll just let it go to a certain number, blah, 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 and we'll give you a bailout to this extent. So it could in a sense, but, you know, help us get our squeeze, help us get our 1A goal. But our 1B goal with this is going to be a lot fucking harder. to kill Citadel, to kill the dragon, to slay the dragon while getting paid is going to be a lot harder. But at the same time, like I said, one of the things Ken Griffin, what did he always say, you guys? What's his most famous quote? They don't care about today. They always want to try to live for just one more day, one day at a time. Live to see another day. Well, he always cheated, did all these things so MOS wouldn't happen because he knew he wouldn't live another day if it did. But now if he gets labeled too big to fail, he could allow it to happen. He could still live another day and get out of the position that he's in. Because as you guys know, this guy is going to be able to make this shit back. Sorry. Fucking ulcers suck, dude. But as you guys know, the way with politicians, with all these other things, he'll be able to make a lot of this money back. So maybe he's like, well, if we get our too bigs to fail. But the way that this passed was just a joke. I mean, they couldn't just said aye fast enough on every proposal. And what's funny, so when you get this too big to fail designation, this tag, what's supposed to happen is you're oversighted by the feds. You have to follow like the Dodd-Frank rules. Well, who cares? Who gives a shit? Does anybody give a fuck that they have to follow the Dodd-Frank rules? No. All these, JP Morgan, all of these banks that are the biggest criminal organizations in the world, they all are under this. They're all under this. Here, let's look. You got all the criminals. Bank of America, New York Mellon, Citigroup, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, State Street, and Wells Fargo. Okay? So you have tons of these already. And all of those guys I named off, they're all criminals or over-leveraged 100-1, breaking down, overspent, don't have anything in the reserves. They're doing criminal shit left and right. They're getting fined every other day. JP Morgan has the most fines in the entire world. So do these regulations and oversight, does it really truly help? Does it stop systematic risk? The answer is no. It actually creates more. And we'll get into that in a second. But what this means is the government will bail them out. The government will look at it and say, you're too big to fail, and we will create a bailout program for Citadel, maybe BlackRock, whatever. I mean, BlackRock's obviously got trillions, but there's benefits to having this tags that these guys also don't want to do. Maybe not BlackRock, but it'll hit more towards firms. You know, you got money market firms. You got a ton of things that this will actually hit. Hedge funds, tons of stuff that will be able to get this tag. But by doing this and everything, if you listen to the meeting, they were talking about all these guys were so over leveraged. And the thing is that they were talking about is the way that the system is currently designed. And this is a problem in itself. They said the way that the system is designed is there's a small amount of entities, a concentration in a sole amount of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 entities. And if these entities go down, it would have a ripple effect. So we need to update these because they had old, obviously old laws, old things, policies in. Donald Trump actually came in and made it harder in 2019 for non-bank entities to try and get this label. He made it even harder for this. Well, Janet Yellen came in today and said, well, you know what? Fuck your bullshit, Trump. I'm going to make it even easier. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of your stuff, and I'm going to bring in my stuff. Like I said, everyone said, oh, he's a Trumper. No, I'm just saying. He had rules in at that moment that actually made it harder and prevented it. It made it basically take 6 years minimum. And that's with all sorts of other stuff, which eventually you weren't going to be able to do it. So Yellen comes in here, they get this fucking tags. Now, some of the things that people talk about with this stuff is it's like, okay, well, if you do these things, you take away competition. Well, there's other things that this actually does with this shit. These firms actually generate more hazards. Why? Because one of the things that this does is, let's say I'm a bank, let's say I'm other institutions. I'm going to give you more credit. I'm not going to demand as much collateral from you. You're going to be able to take out more. This is how these guys get over leveraged 100-1. This is how these guys that are too big to fail are so over leveraged compared to everyone else. Because everybody knows they're protected. I don't need as much leverage from you because I know you can't go under anyways. You can't fail. So this is a guaranteed, technically this is a guaranteed position by the Federal Reserve in the end of the day. Because if you can't pay these, they will. It will be a loan. And all these people, oh, Bigums are making a big deal out of this. It's just a fucking loan. Hey, if I'm too big to fail, and that means no matter what, I need to be bailed out by the government, or there's systematic risk. The government comes over and gives me a loan. I don't pay it back, or I don't have the money to pay it back. And I'm systematically too important to fail, and I say, hey, if you make me pay this back, I'm going to go under, and the system's just going to get fucked. Why even give me the loan in the first place? Now you got to bail me out again. Or you got to just forgive the loan. Oh, crazy. Because they can't let them fail. They're too big to fail still. So the Fed can't just go over and go, well, let me start fucking up your assets and start. No, they're too big to fail still. They'll have to bail out the loan amount that they took. Like I said, it's just a joke. It's a continuation. You're just a god in the financial world. Like I said, they're not going to ask for as much collateral. And what's that do? That gives them even more leverage position, making them even more systematic of a risk, making them tied into more shit, which by the time the regulators get into it again, they're even bigger. So go ahead, by the next time I need a fine, I'm even more entwined. So now by the time my loan's up again, like I said, now you have no choice because I even have a bigger piece of the pie. Now you definitely have to bail out my first loan, and then, fuck, you might even have to bail me out on some other ends again. It's an absolute fucking gong show. So these people will dump bad shit to these guys because they know they'll get bailed out. They can hold this stuff to maturity, and they can do shamries. It's just a complete fucking gong show. It creates an unequal playing field between big and small firms. Yes, it gives these bigger guys fucking an unfair advantage. You will always go with somebody that can never go out of business. Of course. There's no risk. On top of that, these guys have to pay expenses. There's all sorts of things that get trickled down to these smaller firms. And then they have to raise rates, make things more attractive, make them more competitive to the big guys that never have to worry about competition. So by giving these guys these too big to fails, like I said, this is what America's built upon. You don't give this to fucking companies and corporations. You give it to banks. And even they shouldn't have had it. That they needed this because they were like, all right, we'll give you this designation, but you have to fucking follow these new Dodd-Frank rules. You have to follow this and have our oversight. But as we know, the Fed's oversight is nothing. They continuously be the biggest criminals in the fucking world. So, in other words, this is what they said in the meeting was their excuse. This is exactly what they said. Since it relies on such a small entity, the system is outdated. It no longer just applies to the banks and to these auto loans and to these mortgage-backed securities. It also now applies to the updated world of the stock market. So do you mean where the updated crime is at? That's what you mean? We have criminality fucking institutions over here that are so systematically important now because they're so fucking huge. They're monopolies on top of monopolies on top of monopolies, which is all illegal, but we don't care because they pay us enough to look the other way. We're going to go ahead and protect these fuckers because if they blow up, who's going to pay me my hundreds of millions of dollars? Who's going to give me my legal inside information? How can I turn my $100,000 portfolio into hundreds of millions like Nancy Pelosi by the time I leave office? By the time all of those fucking politicians leave office. They're all millionaires. They're all multi-millionaires. Like I said, I've showed you before. The average celebrity, the people who we all thought were the richest in the world, the average celebrities still don't have as much as the average politicians. That's insanity. And I'm talking about in a genre. Now everybody's going to be like, what do you mean? And I'm not talking about every movie star. I'm talking about per genre. The shit is, it's like, it equals them all out individually. It's fucking ridiculous. These guys have billions and billions, and that's what we know about. That's not even counting their dark money. You guys don't understand. I showed you how these politicians get away with not claiming money, but then they give it to themselves. You donate through dark money contributions to your campaign fund. Then you take that money and you donate it to a charity that you own. Now you donate it to a non-profit, a profit charity, not a non-profit charity, a profit charity that you own. Because at that point, you can decide what percent gets fucking sent into that charity and what percent you get to keep. So they're sitting there funneling campaign fucking contributions by the hundreds of millions through charities. And then at the same time, while funneling themselves hundreds of millions through those charities, they come up and ask you, the middle and dying working class, poor class, they come up and say, will you donate to my charity? Will you suck my dick? Sorry, I'm trying not to get super loud and intense, so if everybody's like, why is he sounding weird right now? I have an ulcer again, a lot of them, and it's bad. I've been getting a little too angry, I guess, lately, stressing myself out a little too hard, so trying to keep it calmer, but this does not help because obviously, like I said, this is like protecting Goliath to fuck. It's like, and here's the thing. They had the Dodd-Frank, when this started and all this shit happened, this was like fucking 13 years ago. So why did you wait 13 years to suddenly say, well, we need to give it to corporations too? Look at Citadel. Why now? Why do you need this now? Is it because Citadel and all these fucking people are over leveraged? Is it because they already say they're a systematic risk? Everybody's admitting they're a systematic risk. Everybody's saying that these guys are fucking over leveraged, and they are, and they should be, and they should have gone under, and they still should go under. And the government's had to bail them out in the past, but now it'll be guaranteed. Now it'll be a lot more. Now Citadel won't need as much collateral. Now Citadel can make more money in other departments. Do you see what I mean? Now Citadel can open more swaps. They won't need more of this. They won't need more of that. Everybody will sit there and act like, oh man, they're under regulation. Yeah, I know. So is JP Morgan. So is JP Morgan, who has 274 felony crimes that are acceptance waivers and consents. JP Morgan is also under that same fucking guidelines. And they are out here doing sex trafficking, fucking drug trafficking by the tons. They are doing all this stuff, doing all these things, and then they sign acceptance waiver and consents. And what fear do you have in life if you can assign acceptance waivers and consents and you are too big to fail? You have no risk in life. You can never go to jail. You can never get prosecuted. Your firm can never get charged criminally. And at the same time, if you ever get a bad trade, if you ever do anything wrong, if you're ever over too leveraged and just can't get yourself out, government will go ahead and fix it for you. Okay. So, in other words, they did this shit because they all see it on the wall. This shit in Wall Street has been so corrupt, so long, so much trillions is there. Trillions is there. If we don't try and take care of some of the trillions, billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of fucking dollars that are in here, hidden away in here, fucking hidden away in swaps, basket swaps, fucking whatever kind of goddamn swaps we can find, overnight index swaps by the fucking notional quadrillions amount. What the fuck? This is the dumbest shit I've ever seen. But don't worry. They'll be under the rules of the Dodd-Frank Act. Oh, God. Fuck yeah, we're saved. So, like I said, the only positive about this is I can see them now allowing a squeeze to happen at a controlled number now, though, because Citadel won't fucking die. They always, and Citadel's models themselves live to fight another day, and now they actually can squeeze at a certain number, get out of their fucking positions, and the government basically is going to intervene. And this is what a lot of people were talking about. Maybe the government intervenes, and then what they do is they get their CBDCs in right on time. Well, guess what? JP Morgan's tokenization CBDCs are processing over $1 billion in transactions a day. Their CBDCs are up and underway. And guess what? Their CBDCs are up and underway. Perfect timing for all this. Now that we'll have a couple months to get our CBDCs in, get these guys systematically too big to fail, go ahead and let some shit squeeze. We'll set a fucking intervene, do some bullshit. Because our government needs to just get fucking removed at this point. I mean, what are we doing here? I want to show you guys something. 8 men in the world, just 8 men in the world, own half as much wealth. 8 men in the world own half as much wealth as half of the world's population. 8 men own as much wealth. 8 people own as much wealth as 3.6 billion people. 8 people in the world have as much wealth as 3.6 billion. 8. 8 people have as much money as 3.6 billion. 8 of them. What? What are we doing here? I mean, think of that. That's 8 grasshoppers controlling 3.6 billion ants. 8 of them. That's fucking insanity. And that was before we printed. This is before we printed. And you know, once we printed, the numbers went up because it all went to them. Now, one of the things, I want to skip to this quick before I keep going back because I thought this was absolutely fucking hilarious. Not that one. Here, read this shit. I mean, literally, read this shit. Government policies has resulted in 129 trillion wealth transfer into the pockets of boomers and older Americans. Who's boomers and older Americans? Politicians who are writing the laws. So government policies who are written by dinosaurs are putting money in the pockets of dinosaurs by doing how many hundreds of billions of that number right there are insider information trades. Government policies written by dinosaurs are putting 129 trillion in the hands of dinosaurs. Grandpas are writing laws to make grandpas rich before they die. Hey, fucking old farts. Hey, guys that belong in fucking retirement homes. Hey, you greedy pieces of shits. You can't take it with you. And guess what? Your kids can't take it with them. And when you have enough money where you have fucking generations and generations and generations set up, should they not be able to accumulate their own wealth as well with that wealth they already start with? I think you're going to be fucking K if you don't get a couple hundred more million to billion stolen dollars. You fucking fags. God. This is insane. We got to steal every fucking penny from these guys. Siphon every goddamn dollar and then tax them in between. And then we're going to look at them and we're going to have strokes on national TV. People are wondering, what happened to McConnell? He had a stroke. He had a fucking stroke because he's 90 on national television. That's what happened. That's why he froze. He had a fucking stroke. You can't have 90-year-old dinosaurs in office. Joe Biden has dementia. He doesn't know where the stage is. He shakes hands of invisible ghosts. He is the dumbest fucking person I've ever seen in my life. And this fucking 90-year-old dinosaur that literally has dementia is running our country. And people go, how does the banking mafia control the country? They put a dinosaur in there with dementia and they tell him whatever they want because he's a dinosaur with fucking dementia. I mean, you can't make this shit up. Sorry, I gotta drink a lot of water with this fucking this ulcer. It told me to drink a lot of water. Supposed to keep acid levels down hard. So, but this is what I'm saying. And that's what I wrote. I'm like, yeah, because it all goes to our grandpa politicians. Like I said, we all sit there and go, what the fuck's going on? You're being stolen from. Every penny you get is basically stolen from by an illegal person who's a billionaire or rich as shit. And then when it comes time for them to pay their taxes, they go ahead and do what fucking Microsoft does, and they don't pay $30 billion in taxes. One company over a span of 8 years didn't pay $30 billion in taxes. If you kept going at that rate and we went to where we are now, that still you added another 9 years, you're talking almost $75-80 billion in taxes wasn't paid by Microsoft. And you know that number went up higher per year, so you can more around intelligently guess that number's more around $96 to $105 billion in taxes that Microsoft hasn't paid. No big deal. But they got to come get you for a fucking $5 fucking transaction, $5, 20, $25. Where'd you get this money over here? Where'd this come from? Who cares? Who gives a fuck? My grandma gave me it. Does it matter? Where did that guy $7 billion come from? Well, it came from supply chain financing, which is illegal. Okay, well, you know where it's coming from and it's illegal. Go fucking audit him. Fuck off. And on top of that, I just showed you guys, it costs $600 to build a tax haven in the Cayman Islands. A tax haven in the Cayman Islands is $600 in Georgetown in the Euclid House. Euclid House is the biggest tax haven in the entire fucking world, and it costs $600 to not have to pay your taxes. So, whatever. Like I said, this country is as fucked up as it could possibly get. The people that should be paying the most taxes also have the what? It's not the common. God damn, it's not the common interest. Is it? Is it the common interest? It's the common. No, I can't remember. No, I'm all messed up, man. I haven't been sleeping well. The carried interest loophole. The carried interest loophole. On top of that, again, they got more ways to get out of fucking taxes. The carried interest loophole. So not only do we go over to the tax haven over in Cayman Islands, we hit up the carried interest loophole. So once again, I pay even less taxes than fucking teachers. Okay. Because it's so hard. Why is it so hard to close a corrupt fucking loophole? Because everyone who's rich and all the politicians use it because they're fucking jokes? It's so hard. I can't figure out why the politicians just won't close this fucking loophole. Because they're getting paid hundreds of fucking millions of dollars so these guys can save billions? So, this too big to fail. Like I said, it could either help a MOAS, help a squeeze, make it go up, but like I said, it could also mean now the government will say, hey, well, since we fucking are control on how far this can go, we'll only set it at a number that we fucking want. And then Citadel will live to fight another fucking day. Now, as of right this minute, there's no guarantee that Citadel's gonna get this. They don't have it. It's not like this is passed in second. They're like, all right, Citadel, you got it today. But do we not think that that's what's coming? I'm just being real. I mean, do we not think that that's what's coming? Do we really not think that that's what's coming? I mean, maybe I'm wrong and suddenly somehow Ken Griffin wouldn't get this and they pass this to who? Then what was the purpose of this? You know what I mean? Like, if Ken Griffin... So, I'm not saying he's got it and it's a guarantee it happened, but it's more than likely he's going to get his thing. This is what Ken Griffin said he wanted in 2008. In 2008, he said he wanted this label, and he acted and spent recklessly like he had this label. And then after he got fucked up his ass about it, I showed you guys the clip. Well, we can watch it again. I showed you word for word. This is after he got fucked up. This is after he got fucked up. He almost thought he wasn't going to get bailed out. He shouldn't have been bailed out, but then they still bailed him out anyways for some stupid fucking reason. Because they're tool bags and that's what they do. But here's right out the words of... so everything I showed you, remember the competition, all of that stuff, the less collateral, all of that crap, making the monopoly. Listen to what he says here.
Market becomes overly concentrated, you reduce the incentives for innovation and creativity that are driven by the need to win, stay in business. So first of all, big picture, I wish we would end too big to fail within our banking system, but we're not. So let's talk about what we should do. We should reduce the amount of burdensome regulation on our large banks that has been created over the course of the last 8 years.
And that's why he's a fucking piece of shit. And this is his plan. He told you his plan, okay? So this is what I want people to understand. This is what he wants. This is what's coming down the pipeline now. Sorry. Give me a second here. Holy fuck. This is what's coming down the pipeline. He says, I want us to end too big to fail, but we're not. So now what he wants to do is extend too big to fail to him. Okay? So now that he goes, so now that we're not gonna demolish too big to fail, what I want us to do is give those banks that are too big to fail less regulations and less cost. Okay? So in other words, what he's saying is, once people are too big to fail, we should give them less regulation and they should be able to do what they want. They're too big to fail. Do you understand?
Amount of burdensome regulation on our large banks that has been created over the course of the last 8 years.
So his plan...
The market becomes overly concentrated.
Shut up, you fucking criminal. So his plan is to get too big to fail. Once you are too big to fail, get less regulation on you. Start dismantling some of this regulation, and now less oversight. Now he has less oversight, less regulation, and he's too big to fail. That's his ultimate goal. There it is. He basically said it right in front of you. This is my goal. This is my plan. This is what we need to do. Since we're not going to get... I wish we'd get rid of too big to fail. Do you guys remember what he said about payment for order flow and internalizers? I showed you word for word what he said about internalizers in 2004. Dave Lauer showed you guys over and over what he said in 2004. Internalization will destroy the United States market. It will lead to corruption. It will lead to concentration in institutions. And I highly recommend against payment for order flow and internalizations. Know what the government said? We don't give a fuck. So you know what Ken Griffin said? All right. I now know what you're going to do. Okay? This is Ken Griffin right now. They basically handed him a blueprint. Okay? They handed Ken Griffin a blueprint. They go, hey, what do you think about this? Tell us ways that you think criminality can come from this. Study this. Study this blueprint. Pretend this is a bank, and this is a safe, and you're going to break into this bank, and you're going to break into this vault. Tell me how you do it. Well, guess who's a master now at that blueprint? Ken is. Ken Griffin is. He now knows exactly how to master it. He now knows how to take payment for order flow. He now knows how to take internalization back before everybody else. And he now knows how to use it as a criminality thing and become the top giant thing he warned the United States about, that they said, I don't care. And he goes, fine, then I'll just become it. He's a piece of shit. He's an absolute piece of shit. But he always warns you what he's going to do. He always tells you, I think we shouldn't do this. We shouldn't do internalization. We shouldn't do payment for order flow. It will ruin it. Here he comes up here. We should not do too big to fail. It will ruin the United States. Okay? Well, you're not going to not do it? Okay, well, guess what? I need to get my too big to fucking fail tag. I got to get it. The second I get it, I got all the advantages. And now that there might be a small amount of more regulation, well, who cares? JP Morgan's a criminal organization. I see Jamie Dimon doing just fine. I see all my criminal buddies doing just as much crime as I do. They don't care. So why the fuck should I? So what we're going to do next then is once I get my tag, me and my buddies, me and all my bankers, because we control everything. What are we going to do now? Now that I'm with the banks, now that I have the bank's lawyers and Citadel's lawyers and Virtue's lawyers and all these other people's lawyers, how much money can we go ahead and put into lobbying to get less regulation on banks that qualify for too big to fail? There is Ken Griffin's plan, and that's what he wants. He wants to be too big to fail, and he wants to be unfucking touchable, and he wants to be unwatched. He wants to be a family office. In his eyes, he wants to be a family office that is labeled too big to fail, that operates as a market maker and a hedge fund as well. He wants it all. He wants to be able to do everything, and by doing everything, he owns everything. This is the biggest criminal in the world. This is the biggest, ugliest, woman-beating, bedpost throwing, domestic violence piece of shit loser on the planet. This guy threw a bedpost at his wife when they had an argument because he didn't get his fucking crybaby way. This guy is a psychopath. This man is fucking the scum of the earth. Every terrorist that they've talked about before, this fucking man's just as bad, dude. You don't think this dude's getting people whacked? You don't think people are dying? You think these whistleblowers are killing themselves? Oh my God, I told on a criminal and I feel so bad. And, well, I got paid a whole bunch of fucking money. Oh, shut the criminal up. I got paid a whole bunch of money for telling on the criminal too. So my life got better and I told on the criminal and I ended up committing suicide 6 months later because I just felt so fucking bad about telling on this criminal. I showed you guys the Google search on whistleblowers. It is mind-blowing. You can go ahead and keep on going and going. Found dead, found dead, found dead, found dead, found dead. Horrific tale. Found dead. Whistleblower dead, dead, dead. All new dates, all new years. Whistleblower dead, whistleblower dead, whistleblower dead, whistleblower dead. I mean, you can go on for fucking days. Wuhan whistleblower dead. U.S. Department of Labor whistleblower, dead. Whistleblower protection, get in here or you're going to end up dead. Confessions of a whistleblower who then died. Mysterious death. Okay. Deutsche Bank deaths. Space of random suicides involving the bank that all told on him. Here we go. 1, 2. Oh, just 2 more, I guess. So there's just 2. Sorry. So all these people apparently they just feel so bad that they told on a fucking criminal they have to kill themselves. Yeah, okay. Nope. When you have Jamie Dimon running sex trafficking and billionaire human trafficking fucking islands, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit is fucking unbelievable, dude. Like, this is unreal. Like, this is unreal, dude. This is shit where you're like, is this in a movie? No, this is real life. This is really going on right now. Like, fucking is mind-blowing. It is absolutely fucking mind-blowing. And this guy's a terrorist in the United States. United States. So see, all these countries got terrorists. They're types of them, whatever we want to call them. Oh, they're this. They're Al Qaeda. They're this group. They're this group. Well, the difference here is our terrorists, our financial terrorists, are regarded as kings. They have $1 billion houses, and our politicians are fucking right there with them because they're paid off by them. Like I said, what the fuck, dude? Whatever, I'm not even going to get into this. don't want to get down that path. I'm going to get into a whole new subject, and I'm going to get into a huge fucking rant. See, now you guys see why I'm getting these ulcers, and I'm getting stressed the fuck out. I can't believe the shit these guys are getting in fucking away with. And it's in broad daylight. It's right in front of everybody. And, like, here's the thing. How many people... I watched that stupid ass meeting today. How many people watched that meeting? How many people even knew what was going on? Think of how big of a deal this is. The United States just passed a law that corporations now can become too big to fail, and they have basically no risk in the United States. You now have monopolies that have federally reserved tags that are too big to fail. You have monopolies that are now too big to fail. And that's not even a story. It's not even going to be a front page news. Nobody will care. What it's going to be is on the Treasury's website. Just a note that went through. Everything passed. Cool. I'm glad one of the biggest crime sprees committed by our government against its own people. I'm glad it's not even on the front page. I love treason. It's fun. It's fun from your government. Fucking joke. Now, in some good news, just to kind of lighten the mood up for a second here, so we don't want the ulcer getting too strapped. Dougie Fresh, my boy Dougie Fresh. He's currently they're going to be in court today. So Dougie's going to be a little busy, you guys. He's in trial for stealing from the iron workers, like I was showing you guys for quite a long time now. Dougie Fresh has been stealing from iron workers for a lot. We've been looking at this case for like 6, 7, 8 months now on this channel about Dougie Fresh's criminal activity. We love finding Dougie's criminal activities. So Dougie Fresh, if you didn't know, he has a guy that we call his top. Because if you don't know, a lot of people think that Doug Fresh is he's in charge of it. They're Doug Fresh, he's in charge of virtue, but what you end up finding is he's actually on the bottom, if you know what I'm saying. That's a pun intended. And it turns out he's Vincent Viola's bottom. Vincent Viola uses him to go ahead and use criminal activities with this company. And Dougie's there just so him and his boyfriend Vincent, who's in tons of pictures, they own the Panthers together. There's rumors going around about Dougie and Vincent. There's a lot of rumors going around about Dougie and Vincent. And someone else here, too. And if you guys don't remember, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys. In the media, there's another rumor going around about these two. Oh, God, look at those guys. Dougie's on a date. He's cheating on Vincent over here. But, so they're stealing from iron workers. Vincent Viola comes in there. He uses all these schemes. He steals all this money, siphons hundreds of millions from iron workers, right? The iron workers go and they tell the board of directors. They literally come up and tell Doug Seafood to us, hey, we have proof that Vincent Viola is a criminal and he's using your company to do criminal activities and steal hundreds of millions from us. Hardworking iron workers. Fucking construction guys. The bread and butter of America. You know, the heart and soul of fucking America. And that's who you're stealing from. So they go ahead and they come up and they tell Dougie Fresh and they tell the whole board of directors. And guess what the board of directors did? They found out ways for him to cheat and steal and hide it better. They helped Vincent. They went ahead and helped their big daddy Vincent because he basically got there so Dougie Fresh could come on in there and, you know, ease up, you know, tickle him a little bit and have fun time like he's doing over here with little man Gary or Gasparino here. Look at this fucking picture, cracks me up, dude. I love that they're holding the bag. But so he's in trial now and he's gonna have to go, you know, so this is why he wasn't able to respond to me. And this is why Dougie Fresh had to mute me anytime I brought up the why hasn't he been, you know, charged for this case, is because he actually was being charged for this case and he's actually now going to trial. So Everybody, make sure you go ahead and let good old Dougie Fresh on Twitter know. No, good luck with your court case today, bud. Fucking piece of shit. Good luck. So I'm gonna look over at the chat here. I didn't really look at the chat at all much. Yeah, but here I'm gonna go ahead and we'll remove Dougie Fresh here from the thing. But Dougie Fresh, he's in some court cases today. Before we keep going, we'll try and soften the mood up a little bit more because, like I said, I gotta keep the ulcer under control a little bit here. So on to some more good news. Sammy boy, after telling on a whole bunch of people, Sammy boy got found guilty on all 7 charges. Looks like he's facing over 100 years in prison. Everybody's asking themselves, when can Griffin? You know what I mean? When can Griffin? But now that it's funny because, you know, the thing is there's going to be about three paths here I could see happening for Sammy boy. From this point on, you got to think, you know, obviously he's going to go away to prison. I don't think he's not going to be getting out any fucking time. So what's going to happen is you're going to have people go up to him because he obviously knows a lot of secrets. And now what the fuck's he have to lose? He's basically your Jeffrey Epstein. Sorry, I got to take this pill quick. Hold on. So he's basically... That's one of the paths. Does he get Jeffrey Epstein so he doesn't talk? Is he going to talk? Or are they going to go up to him and bribe him by saying, we will make sure your family's taken care of. We will make sure that they have tons of fucking money, secure for life. We'll take care of everything. Blah, blah, blah. We'll make sure you have as much commissary as you can. You will live like a king here away in jail. It's going to be pretty interesting to see what ends up happening here with Big Sammy boy. I mean, I just feel like there's too much shit that he knows. I could end up seeing Sammy boy here. They're going to end up Epsteining himself, potentially. But we know with that, I don't really... no one believes Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. Let's be fucking real. Yeah, right? Like, they were going to let that guy with those secrets live. You know what I mean? But... it's going to be pretty interesting to see here, but I'm glad that Sam got fucking charged with everything. Hopefully, like I said, we already saw him tell on Jane Street for market manipulation tactics. So, that's kind of nice. Hopefully, we now know that he will tell on people. So, hopefully, he tries to work something out, and we get some tattletale and some more information now to hear out of Sammy boy. Especially with... see, one of the things... all right. One of the things I do want to talk about for 1 second is these tokens. Because a lot of people are talking about these tokens and now there's so many tokens out there and all these tokens were this and that. I do want people to look at one thing. There is a massive... because, you know, we got to be educated. We can't just want to believe something and then believe it. But when it comes to these coins... yes, there are plenty of corruption involved in this. We already went over the total return swaps and all of that. But when it comes to these coins, there is a massive, massive difference between maximum supply and concurrent supply, or supply and circulation. Those are completely 2 different numbers, and they have completely 2 massive, massive meanings. Maximum supply on a coin can be set to what you want on the node. Like, you can set that. I can set it to anything. It doesn't mean that that's minted. Maximum supply means that that's as many as I can mint. That's as many as we can make total. From that. You can't go on at that point. That doesn't mean that that supply's in circulation. If you look at the volume on those coins, it's not even close. It's not massive. I'm not saying that some of those weren't used for manipulation. I'm not. But what I'm saying is, they didn't even need them. Like, everybody thinks that they needed these things. They don't need those. They have so many other ways to hide all of the shit that they have been doing. Internalizing orders, Swaps. Swaps are the biggest things ever. Basket swaps. You should see the amount in basket swaps. It's insane that what's out there. Like I said, the amount of stuff. Basket swaps. Here you go. They have ISDA contracts. They have so many fucking ways. ISDA sham resets. This. Market maker exclusions. 203B. There's so many different things. Market maker exemptions. Short fill exemptions. There's so many things. Because you guys got to remember. The way the market's set up, they don't care about anything but what? What is the only thing the market cares about? The word liquidity. Markets run off liquidity. That is all they care about. All right. Oop. Well, since Dougie Fresh is also getting sued on multiple things, looks like Dougie Fresh is also doing some suing of his own. So Virtue Canada is trying to sell or sue a hedge fund because they ended up making them buy some orders and they didn't pay for their orders in time. Well, by that time, Citadel or Virtue already went out, purchased those orders, and by the time they went to sell them back to the market, Virtue lost $5 million. Good. Fuck you, Virtue. Maybe do better business. Maybe do better business practice. Maybe you shouldn't buy securities before you have cash in hand, douche. I love it. I just love it when these guys lose money. I love it when these guys get fucked over, and then they sit there and whine and bitch about it. Okay, we do this 1,000 times a day to people. But fuck, when it gets done to us, I gotta sue them. I still think we sue a fuck out of a broker. I still think we sue the shit out of a broker, everybody. I really do. I think we should fucking sue the hell out of them. Now, some big news today. ATMs everywhere, all over the fucking United States, it went down. Tons of problems, tons of people not being able to get money, tons of people not being able to access their accounts, tons of people having problems with their deposits not going through for a short period of time. Tons of big problems are happening today. Tons of big problems are happening today. JP Morgan Chase, criminal. Wells Fargo, criminal. Bank of America, criminal. Truist and US Bank. I'm not going to call them criminal. I'm sure they are, but not like the others. Bank encountered blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, they got delayed direct deposits. So, I mean, like I said, this has to do with the clearinghouse network. All these guys are on the same one. And like I said, nobody can access their money. Once again, guys, do you have all of your money out of these big banks other than the amount, if you absolutely need it, I guess, just to pay bills? Because there's going to be a day when shit pops off and you need to get some money and it will not be there. I'm telling you. Fuck these losers. You got to remember, they got the reserve amount. The fucking National Reserve amount went down to 0%. These guys don't even need to have. These guys no longer have a requirement of a reserve requirement of their customers' deposit they have to save. So every single penny of their customer deposits, they don't have to have a single penny of it at the bank reserve. They can spend it all. That was from COVID, and they never removed it. They never removed it. So they have an unlimited. They have a zero reserve requirement. I'm going to say that again. Banks, because of COVID, still currently, they have not removed the zero customer bank deposit requirement. It is still at 0. So none of these fuckers have money. Oh, we're having clearing problems. Yeah, because you're all fucking broke, and it's hard to clear shit you don't have, right? So, in other words, if you're having clearing problems, somebody's money, something's not clearing correctly. So somebody's collateral is not processing like it should be, which means you don't have the fucking assets, right? Oh, but we're going to say it all fancy so it doesn't sound as bad. So somebody at the clearinghouse got fucked up, basically, and it fucked up a ripple effect through everything. So, again, all these banks, get the fuck out of them, especially U.S. Bank. I just showed you U.S. Bank is having problems today. On top of that, U.S. Bank will shut its campus, a 340,000 square foot building, and they're going to be downsizing into a single office. I'm going to say that again. You go from a skyscraper, if you go from a skyscraper to a single small little mom and pop shop, what does that tell you? I went from a skyscraper to a single small mom and pop little bank, you know, your average bank you see on every street corner. I went from a fucking giant skyscraper to that. Huh. Yeah, there's nothing to see here in the banking sector. There's nothing to see. I know I closed down my fucking skyscrapers for fun. Businesses, exactly like I said. What's going to happen when they crush out the middle class, kill all the mom and pop shops, and kill all your smaller fucking companies? You're going to get zero taxes. So guess what? You're already on your death spiral. Well, guess what's happening? 30%. Business bankruptcies in the United States rose 30% in the last year. Huh. 30%? That's a fuck ton. And it's going to go up faster. This is insane. Like I said, I don't know where they think they're going to end up getting this. We already went into the taxes and shit. I don't know where the fuck the United States thinks they're going to get these politicians. Do they not understand that there's going to be no money for them to spend, but they're going to keep spending what they don't have at this insane fucking rate? Like, this makes no sense, dude. I just love this. Government policies gave all the old politicians all your money. Yeah, we know. Government policies gave all the dinosaur politicians all your money. Now, another reason why, like I said, we'll get back to the banks here. How you doing, Pete? Thank you. Yeah, feeling a little better. I'm just trying, like, whenever I get stressed out a little bit, I definitely can feel it. Like, it's definitely not gone. But that's why I'm trying to do a little mix this video. I'm trying to do a little happiness and then back to their bullshit in between. So, God, see, it's already... I'm not going to go much longer, guys. I think I'm going to go for like 5-6 more minutes here. But yeah, so like we know, and everything else, they started out in other countries that are more tolerant, and then after they hit them in these other tolerant countries, then they bring shit over to Canada, the United States, all these other places. Well, Swiss regulators are discussing ways to prevent bank runs. Now, this is what I was telling you guys. When it gets too bad and people are going to start running on these banks, and you decide, after not listening to me for fucking 2.5 years saying get out of these banks, and shit pops off, and suddenly it's time for you to say, God, I got to get my money out quick. I better go grab my money. You will not be able to get it. Here's your proof. This will happen in the United States as well. This is what they will do. They will restrict you from removing your money. Or they're going to charge you a massive fucking fee to where you're going to go, is it worth removing my money? Swiss regulators discuss measures to prevent bank runs. Banks' measures could include staggering withdrawals, imposing exit fees, would target top banks. So basically your number one banks, like I told you, JP Morgan's, your Wells Fargo, your bigger banks. We'll top with such banks as UBS, Wealth Clients, Swiss Stocks in early stages. Right now, government is involved. Exactly. The government will come in if they see all these banks, runs on all these banks, and if you don't hurry up and get the fuck out now before they start to happen, because they will happen hard here next year, you will be stuck, and you will be fucked. And you will be running through all these problems. Sorry, I'm supposed to take 2 of these stupid pills. One did not help. All right. So, like I said, guys, they always implement it into other countries, and then they bring it right over here. And it's like you said, I mean, look at other countries. You always see what they do, and then we do it right after. It's always a glimpse into the future. So, once again, guys, start the bank run before everyone else does. Get the fuck out of your banks. Alright. I'm gonna go to chat here for a couple minutes and then I gotta go, man. I gotta go lay down here. This shit's starting to wear me out here pretty bad. Hot ginger tea, I will give that a try. That's my wife to pick some up on her way home here quick. I'm glad to see you are in a credit union. Yes, like I said, guys, credit unions, credit unions, credit unions. I showed you guys the risks that credit unions have. Yes, it's not like they're impossible to go under because credit unions do have a lot of bad auto loans. And if a whole bunch of fucking people defaulted on these auto loans, a shit ton of people defaulted on these auto loans, yes, they could go under. But typically, it shouldn't happen at that point where tons of people are just going to default on their auto loans. People need a car to get to their job, but that's one of the last things they're going to default on. The last 2 things you're going to do right now is a house and your car, so. Oh. And I already showed you, when it comes to credit unions, you have no risk of bank runs because everybody's going to be insured at a credit union. Everybody at credit unions has under, almost, I would say, not everybody, but about, I would say seriously, about 70, if not more percent, have under 250,000 in credit unions. They're not made for super rich people. They're made for us, your average workers. So most of those people aren't going to run away from a bank because they're insured. They're not going to, there's no reason to panic. The people that run and start these bank runs are these rich millionaires that suddenly take out tons more than the 250,000 and the banks weren't ready for it. Well, you're not going to have some guy at a credit union chilling in there with fucking $150 million going, I better take my fucking $150 million out and start, and all of a sudden the bank goes under. You don't have that risk like you do with these banks. And all these bigger guys I showed you, all those people that I was talking about, just like that fit that category, they're all sitting there going to money market funds. They're all leaving the banking system anyways. So they're already running, so they're not going to be protected by that. I'm going to get going though, you guys. Thank you for listening. This thing's starting to hurt pretty bad here. I'm going to go lay down. Thank you guys for listening. I appreciate everything.